Part 161. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1601. Chapter 1601. The young master is so good looking. After get off work in the evening, Gongzili drove back to the palace residence. Like Moyesi, he has his own residence and does not live in the old house. Only go home for dinner occasionally. Mrs. Gong is only a son like Gongzili. So he has been pampered in every possible way since he was a child. Gongzili doesn't go home very often, and when he comes back occasionally, Mrs. Gong will make all kinds of grand preparations. Madam, the young master is back. While Mrs. Palace was greeting people in the kitchen, a maid walked into the kitchen to report. Zili is back. Mrs. Gong's face showed joy, and she called to the kitchen, "The young master is back, please hurry up. Take a bowl of the soup I made. Let him drink a bowl of soup on such a hot day. Relieve the heat." By the way, Ching Ching. Mrs. Gong turned to look at Shang Guanqing beside her and took her hand. "You can bring the soup to Zili later." Shang Guanqing was very happy to know that Gongzili was back, but when she thought of all the indifference and alienation that Gongzili had shown her yesterday, she felt a little uneasy. "Auntie, will brother Zili be unhappy when he sees me at your house?" "How come?" Mrs. Gong smiled and said, "He will only be happy. Besides, you are the guest I invited to my house. It doesn't matter whether he is happy or not." But Chiao Mianmian's face appeared in Shang Guanqing's mind, and there was a hint of coldness in her eyes. That vixen Chiao Mianmian. Sure enough, as rumored, she and Bai Yusheng also had an affair. Yesterday, Bai Yusheng was so protective of her and kept saying that she was his sister. The little relies on that face to seduce men everywhere. Shameless bitch. Gongzili is her man, and she will not let him be seduced by any vixen. She would always find an opportunity to teach that shameless little a lesson. Just listen to my aunt. Don't you want to marry Zili? Shang Guanqing immediately shook her head, "Of course not." "Then just listen to my aunt, she won't harm you." Shang Guanqing pursed her lips, and after a few seconds of silence, she nodded shyly. Asterisk. "Hello, young master." Gongzili walked into the hall, and all the maids greeted him respectfully when they saw him. After greeting him, he looked up secretly, then looked away with a blush and a heartbeat. Young master is really good looking. Even though they have been working in the palace for many years and have met Gongzili many times, they still feel butterflies in their hearts every time they see him. Gongzili has a bad temper, which is well known to everyone. This is even more clear to everyone going up and down the palace. So the people below were respectful and afraid of him, but this did not prevent the maids from being obsessed with him at all. Except for character. Gongzili does have a very good-looking face. He looks like the palace lady. Mrs. Gong and Mrs. Mo were both famous and beautiful ladies when they were young. Gongzili walked to the hall, looked around, looked for a maid at random and asked, "Madam, why don't you see anyone?" The maid replied, "Madam is preparing dinner for the young master in the kitchen." "Why bother, just let the kitchen make some." As soon as Gongzili finished speaking, he heard Mrs. Gong's voice behind him. Mrs. Gong called out affectionately, "Zili, you are back. Are you hungry? Are you thirsty?" Shang Guanqing followed Madame Gong. She was holding a bowl of soup in her hand. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1602. Chapter 1602. Should I not come? When she saw Gongzili, her heart beat uncontrollably faster, and her eyes fell on Gongzili with some obsession. Gongzili knew that Shang Guanqing was here tonight. So when he saw her standing behind the palace lady, he was not surprised at all. His eyes crossed the palace lady and fell directly on Shang Guansheng. His narrow phoenix eyes narrowed and he said with a half-smile, "Mom, are there guests at home tonight?" Mrs. Gong noticed his gaze and glanced behind her, then said with a smile, "Yes, your sister Ching Ching is here. She heard that you were coming back tonight and made you some soup to relieve the heat early in the morning. The child is really thoughtful. He has never cooked at home, so he put a lot of effort into making the soup for you." As Mrs. Gong spoke, she winked at Shang Guansheng. Shang Guanqing understood immediately and walked towards Gong Zili with the bowl of soup. "Brother Zili, you must be thirsty. This soup has been chilled. Take a bite." Gong Zili lowered his eyes and did not reach out to take it. Shang Guanqing kept holding the bowl. She held it for a while, but Gong Zili still didn't take it. The expression on her face couldn't help but become a little stiff. "Brother Zili." She couldn't help shouting. "Zili, this is the soup Ching Ching brought to you. Take it and take a sip." Seeing that he had no reaction, Mrs. Gong couldn't help but speak out. Gong Zili then raised his eyes, but still did not reach out to take the bowl of soup. There was obvious alienation in his tone. "Miss Shangguan, please take the trouble, but I'm not thirsty, you'd better drink it yourself." After finishing speaking, he walked past Shang Guansheng. Shang Guansheng looked a little ugly while holding the bowl of soup. Mrs. Gong glanced at her and comforted her quickly. "Ching Ching, Zili may not be thirsty. Give the soup to the servant and let's have dinner first." Shang Guansheng bit her lip in grievance. "Auntie, brother Zili doesn't like me here? Shouldn't I come?" "Who said that?" Madame Gong reached out and touched her head, comforting her softly. "Ching Ching, don't think nonsense. He usually has this kind of virtue, and it's not because of you. Okay, let's go there with Auntie." Shang Guanqing felt aggrieved, but she didn't want Madame Gong to think she was small-minded. He could only hold back his grievances and followed the palace lady to the dining room. Mong Zili changed his clothes and went downstairs. Arrived at the dining room, Mrs. Gong and Shang Guanqing were already sitting there. As soon as Mrs. Gong saw Gong Zili, she waved to him. "Zili, come over here and sit down." She asked Miyazawa to sit next to Shang Guanqing. Gong Zili glanced at him, slightly twitching the corner of his mouth, and walked straight to sit across from the two of them. Mrs. Gong frowned, but it was difficult to say anything to him. Shang Guanqing could tell that Gong Zili was avoiding her. She bit her lips, feeling angry and aggrieved, and her eyes were a little red. After a while, the servant brought dinner to the table. On the table were some of Miyazawa's favorite dishes. Mrs. Gong put a chopstick of the dish into Gong Zili's bowl, looked at him lovingly and said, "Zili, try this. I remember you like this dish very much, try it and see how it tastes." Gong Zili picked up the chopsticks and took a bite. Mrs. Gong immediately asked, "How is it? Is it delicious?" "Well, it's okay." "Then you try this dish again." Madame Gong put another chopstick into his bowl. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1603. Chapter 1603. What I said is the truth, why should I apologize? In her expectant eyes, Gong Zili took another bite. Just after tasting the taste, Miyazawa felt that this dish was obviously not on the same level as the one just now. "How is it delicious?" Madame Gong asked again. Beside him, Shang Guanqing also looked at him expectantly. Miyazawa immediately understood what was going on. He put down his chopsticks, picked up the napkin on the table, and slowly wiped the corners of his lips. "Mom." After a while, When Mrs. Gong was about to pick up food for him again, Gong Zili raised his hand to stop her. His narrow phoenix eyes were half squinted, and he said in a cold voice, "You don't need to spend time on this. I came back today just to tell you face to face, stop trying to bring me and Shang Guanqing together. I'm not interested in a woman like her." Seeing Shang Guanqing's suddenly pale face, Gong Zili did not take into account her mood at this time and continued to say coldly, "Why, the daughter of the Shang Guan family can't get married, so she keeps selling to our Gong family." "Zili, what are you talking about?" Mrs. Gong's expression suddenly changed and she frowned. "How could you say such outrageous words? Please apologize to Ching Ching quickly." "Apologize?" Gong Zili looked at Shang Guanqing expressionlessly, and said with disgust in his eyes, "What I said is the truth, why should I apologize?" "Shang Guanqing, I thought I had made it clear enough to you, do you think you are stalking me like this? Is it useful to fight? No one can decide my lifelong events except myself. Do you think that pleasing my mother will be useful and you can marry into the palace family?" Mrs. Gong's face was ugly and she said, "That's enough, Zili, don't say any more. Ching Ching is a guest. I invited her to my home. How could you say such outrageous things to her?" "Guest?" Gong Zili curled his lips and sneered, "That's your guest, not mine. If she is at home again in the future, there is no need to call me back. Besides..." Gong Zili half squinted his eyes and looked at the pale Shang Guanqing coldly. There was no warmth in his voice. "Shang Guanqing, I'm warning you, if you dare to go to Jiao Mian again in the future, don't blame me for treating you badly." Polite. Shang Guanqing has been patient. When I heard the words Jiao Mian, I finally couldn't bear it anymore. She raised her head suddenly, her eyes were red, and she gritted her teeth and said angrily, "So those scandals on the internet are true? Do you really like this woman? She is just a little actress, and she has had affairs with so many men. What is there about this kind of woman that you should like? Brother Zili, even if you still like Shenro, you still like that kind of woman. Strong, you." A pop sound. First there was the sound of glass falling to the ground, followed by a piercing scream, "Ah!" At Shang Guanqing's feet, there was a smashed wine glass. And the red wine in the glass spilled all over her. The cup flew past her just now and almost hit her in the face. Shang Guanqing looked at Gong Zili with wide eyes in shock. The man's eyes were extremely cold, as if they were tempered with ice, and the aura around his body was also extremely cold, and he couldn't feel a trace of warmth. The look he looked at her was as sharp as a knife. Shang Guanqing only looked at him once, and then looked away fearfully. Thinking of the wine glass that almost hit her face, she trembled with fear, stretched out her hand and hugged the palace lady's arm tightly. "Auntie, I'm so scared, I want to go home." End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1604. Chapter 1604. She is the girlfriend of the second young master of the Mo family. Mrs. Gong was also shocked by Gong Zili's move just now. She knows her son well. Even though he has a bad temper, he still behaves like a gentleman in front of girls. What's more, the Shang Guan family and the Gong family are still friends. Looking at this relationship, he shouldn't do this to Shang Guanqing. "Don't be afraid, Ching Ching, Auntie is here, he doesn't dare to do anything to you." Mrs. Gong comforted Shang Guanqing for a few words, raised her head, glared at her son and said, "Zili, you are really shameless. You actually made a move on a girl, your behavior today has disappointed me so much. You apologize to Ching Ching immediately." Gong Zili sneered, "If she hadn't been a girl, I wouldn't have just given you a verbal warning. Mom, I'll tell you one last time, don't interfere in anything of mine." After saying that, Gong Zili turned around and left from the dining room. "Leave Shang Guanqing, who was still in panic, and Mrs. Gong, who looked ugly, and left without looking back. Wait for Miyazawa to leave. Shang Guanqing seemed to have just come back to her senses and cried wow. She was frightened and cried. Mrs. Gong saw her crying and rushed to comfort her. The more comfort he received, the harder Shang Guanqing cried. "Aunt, brother Zili fell in love with that vixen. He actually attacked me for that vixen. Aunt, you must seek justice for me." Shang Guanqing lay on Mrs. Gong's body, crying like a mess. Mrs. Gong was stunned for a moment, and while wiping the tears on her face with a handkerchief, she asked, "Ching, you said Zili fell in love with a vixen? Who is this vixen you are talking about? Who else could it be, but the little actor named Jiao Mian?" Shang Guanqing sobbed and gritted her teeth when talking about Jiao Mian. That vixen not only hooked up with brother Zili, but also hooked up with Bai Yisheng. I heard that she also had an ambiguous relationship with the male actor on the set. How could brother Zili fall in love with her? Such a woman. After hearing what she said, Mrs. Gong's face became quite ugly. She frowned. Zili fell in love with an actor? When did this happen? Why didn't I know? Auntie, you don't care about the entertainment industry, so of course you don't know. Shang Guanqing looked at the expression on Mrs. Gong's face at this time. There were still tears in her eyes. She rolled her eyes and immediately took out her mobile phone. I found a photo of Jiao Mian and showed it to Madame Gong. She pointed at the photo and said fiercely, "That's the vixen." Mrs. Gong glanced down. At first glance, she thought it looked familiar. After a few more careful glances, the expression on her face changed. "Ching, are you sure the woman Zili likes is her?" "I'm sure," Shang Guanqing gritted his teeth and said, "I wasn't sure at first. But you also saw that brother Zili was so protective of her just now. If he hadn't fallen in love with this vixen, how could he have protected her like this?" Mrs. Gong frowned. Ching, have you misunderstood? I have seen this girl before. She is the girlfriend of the second young master of the Mo family. How could she hook up with Zili? If there is no confirmation, you should not say nonsense." "What?" Shang Guanqing's eyes widened with shock. "Auntie, do you think this little actor is the girlfriend of the second young master of the Mo family?" Mrs. Gong attended the dinner party hosted by the Mo family for Jiao Chen that night. I met Jiao Mian at the banquet. Even though they only met her once, Mrs. Gong was deeply impressed by Jiao Mian because of her outstanding appearance. Still remember what she looks like. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1605. Chapter 1605 didn't listen to her words. Shang Guanqing simply didn't want to believe it. That vixen is actually the girlfriend of the second young master of the Mo family. How can this be? Not all of them say that the two young men of the Mo family are not sexually attracted to women, especially the second young master of the Mo family. It is said that he suffers from some kind of misogyny and cannot even touch women. That's why I have been single for so many years. This is also the reason why many women in the circle are envious of them but don't have many ideas. Because it is unrealistic. No matter how good the conditions are, if you don't like women, what's the use? How could he, a man with misogyny, have a girlfriend? Well, Zili and I went to a banquet together that time and saw her. Mrs. Gong glanced at Shang Guanqing with a deep look, thought for a moment, and then said, Ching, our Gong family and the Mo family have always had a close relationship. That's right. Since Mo Yesi brought her home at the Mo family's banquet, he must have taken her seriously. Now that the matter has been clarified, it's a misunderstanding. Don't think about it anymore. Mrs. Gong was actually worried that Shang Guanqing would trouble Jiao Mian again. As she said, the Gong family and the Mo family have always had a good relationship. If Shang Guanqing wants to marry into the Gong family in the future, she must not offend the Mo family. This has greatly affected the relationship between the two families. Mrs. Gong is reminding Shang Guanqing not to cause trouble again. But Shang Guanqing didn't listen to her words. Even if he heard it, he didn't take it seriously. From her point of view, even if Xiao Mian is Mo Yesi's girlfriend and Mo Yesi takes her home, so what? That kind of lowly little actor. How could the second young master of the Mo family really marry her home? It was just because of her face that I was temporarily confused by her. But men all have their freshness period, and no matter how beautiful a woman is, she will only be like that after a long time. Without a good family background, they are nothing more than entertainment. Just like the favored cats and dogs, their status is always humble. The Mo family is the most famous family in Yunqing, and their family background is extremely prominent. How could they allow a lowly actor to enter the family? Thinking of this, Shang Guanqing started not to take Xiao Mian seriously anymore. She was dealing with the palace lady on the surface, but in her heart she thought that she must find a time to teach Xiao Mian a lesson. She didn't believe it. She is just a little actress, what can she do if she moves? Auntie, I understand. Don't worry, I won't think about it anymore. Shang Guanqing pretended to be well behaved to please the palace lady. Mrs. Gong was also very satisfied with her attitude. She took Shang Guanqing's hand, patted it twice, and said in a soft voice, "Qing Qing, I originally thought that no matter what, Zili would not do anything so ungraceful. But I didn't expect that he would do anything so ungraceful today." Mrs. Gong sighed, "Auntie feels really sorry for causing you such great grievance. Originally, Auntie thought that our two families knew each other well, and you are such an outstanding child. If you could be with Zili, you would never be the same again. But Zili went too far today. Even my aunt is unwilling to forgive him for the things he did. If you are disappointed with him and don't want to be with him, my aunt will understand. Auntie, I don't blame brother Zili." After hearing what Madame Gong said, Shang Guanqing immediately expressed her stance. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1606. Chapter 1606. It must be because of Xiao Mian. Perhaps brother Zili encountered something disturbing today and was in a bad mood, so his temper became bad. Or maybe it's because he has some misunderstandings about me. Anyway, I can understand it. I won't give up on him because of these things. Auntie, I still want to be with brother Zili and marry him as his wife. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm just afraid that he likes someone else and doesn't want to be with me. As Shang Guanqing spoke, her eyes turned red. Mrs. Gong immediately comforted her. How could it be possible? Qing Qing, you are so kind. As long as you are willing to persevere, Zili will definitely feel your sincerity. Auntie will also help you to make him fall in love with you sooner. Only you are the most suitable for us, Zili. My aunt doesn't like other girls. Because of Mrs. Gong's words, Shang Guanqing felt a little proud again. Yes, she is the only one who is most suitable for Gong Zili. In terms of family background, appearance, and all other conditions, she is the most suitable for Gong Zili. Hence, the position of the young lady of the Gong family can only belong to her. But, brother Zili, he doesn't seem to like me. It's okay, kid. Relationships can be cultivated. Your uncle and I didn't have a relationship at the beginning, but it was developed slowly later. Your uncle and I are quite affectionate now, aren't we? If you want to win Zili's heart, you have to be patient. As I said, He has been surrounded by girls who like him since he was a child. He is a relatively passive person emotionally and needs the other party to take the initiative. You chase him more and persist for a while. He is not iron-hearted. How can he remain indifferent all the time? Even though Shang Guanqing was repeatedly hit by Gong Zili, she never thought of giving up. She has liked Gong Zili for so many years. Of course it's impossible to give up lightly just because of such a small thing. She has never thought about marrying any other man except Gong Zili. Auntie, I will work hard. Shang Guanqing took a deep breath, clenched her fists and said, I will definitely work hard to make brother Zili like me. Asterisk. The hot searches for Chiao Mian and Gong Zili went up quickly and disappeared quickly. She originally thought that the matter was over, so she didn't take it too seriously. Who would have known that when I opened my eyes the next day, I would see a piece of news. It's news about Boss Wang's brokerage company. The news said that Boss Wang's company was suddenly found to have tax problems, and the company was temporarily closed for a thorough investigation. If it is found that Boss Wang has engaged in tax evasion, he might even be in trouble. Because of this incident, Chiao Mian is on the hot search again. Weibo netizens are discussing how Boss Wang's company might not have problems sooner rather than later, but it happened at this time. It must be because of Chiao Mian. That night, Chiao Mian was harassed and molested by Boss Wang at the KTV. All netizens knew about it. After it was revealed that he had harassed Chiao Mian, there were problems with the company's taxation. This is too coincidental. It's not obvious that someone wants to vent his anger on Chiao Mian. This person is most likely Chiao Mian's mysterious boyfriend. Netizens rushed to Mo Yesi's Weibo to leave messages. Is this the start of the overbearing CEO's mode of protecting his wife? Boss Wang's company was found to have tax problems. Was it you who did it? End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1607. Chapter 1607. Chiao Mian's wealthy boyfriend. Wow, this is so flattering. Are you really venting your anger on Chiao Mian about Boss Wang's company? Ha ha ha, seeing Mian's boyfriend protecting her like this makes us, Mian being, relieved. Wow, I'm jealous of the real name system. I thought I was reading a novel about a boss. I really want to have a boyfriend who is so domineering and dotes on his girlfriend. So, has anyone revealed the identity of Anonymous Doe? I seriously suspect that Sue's acquisition was done by him. If he can just acquire a company casually, he must be a very powerful person. Let me tell you a secret quietly, Chiao Mian's boyfriend is indeed an extraordinary person. Everyone in the Mo family knows about it. It is said that he is a branch of the Mo family, and his family is considered very good in the Mo family. A side branch of the Mo family. I think this information is accurate. If he is from the Mo family, it is not difficult to understand why young Master Yan and young Master Gong know him. Wow, I envy Chiao Mian so much. The boyfriend she has found is so handsome. He's rich, he's from a famous family, and he loves her so much. She must have saved the galaxy in her previous life. I don't know anything else. I just know someone like Chiao Mian. Is there anyone who dares to lurk against her? Boss Wang just teased me, and the company was immediately investigated. Who dares to hide the rules? Soon, due to the enthusiastic discussion among netizens, Mo Yesi also became a hot search topic. I'll spy the relationship between Anonymous and the Mahist family. Hashtag. Angamian's wealthy boyfriend. Hashtag. Mo Yesi instantly dominated 3 hot searches, which was more than Chiao Mian's. On hot searches, there are all kinds of discussions about his identity. The most reliable theory among netizens is that he is a relative of the Mo family. No one thought that Mo Yesi would be the newly appointed young president of the Mo family. After all, many people have heard that rumor. The second young master of the Mo family has some quirks and is not interested in women. As a result, there was never a woman around him. Hence, no one thought about Mo Yesi's identity as the president of the Mo family. Moreover, in their opinion, relatives from the side branches of the Mo family were also very powerful. Mian, have you seen the hot searches on Weibo? They are all guessing about your boyfriend's true identity. Nana likes to gossip and is always browsing Weibo in her free time, so if there are any new trends on Weibo, she knew almost immediately. Chiao Mian was also browsing the news just now, nodded and said, "Yes, I saw it." She never thought that those netizens would be so curious about Mo Yesi's identity. I was so curious that just discussing his identity led to 3 hot searches. In fact, Nana was also quite curious. She gossiped, Mian, it is said on the internet that your boyfriend is from the Mo family. Is this true? Of course, I am just asking casually. If you feel inconvenient to answer, just ignore it. It's not inconvenient. Netizens guessed it right, Chiao Mian said. You guessed it right? So your boyfriend is really from the Mo family. Nana opened her eyes wide. Chiao Mian thought for a while and nodded. Mo Yesi is indeed from the Mahist family. So this statement is not wrong. Nana's eyes showed envy. The Mahist family is indeed very powerful. She is rich, good-looking, and comes from a famous family. The most important thing is that she also values and dotes on Chiao Mian. Who wouldn't want to have a boyfriend like this? But, Nana feels that there are some things that she cannot envy. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1608. Chapter 1608. Then let them watch. First of all, she doesn't have Chiao Mian's looks. As a woman, she thought Chiao Mian was so beautiful, like a fairy. Of course only a good man can be worthy of a fairy. So, Chiao Mian and her boyfriend are actually a good match. Moreover, it is a good thing that Chiao Mian's boyfriend has a prominent status. In this case, the uneasy and well-meaning men in the circle will not dare to have ideas about her. It can prevent things like Boss Huang from happening again. Asterisk. Lunch break. Chiao Mian finished her meal and took a lunch break in the nanny's car. Just after lying down for a while, she received a call from Mo Yesi. She picked up the call and heard the man say, "Where are you?" "I'm on the set." Chiao Mian immediately stood up, and all the remaining sleepiness was gone. She rubbed her eyes and looked out the car window. "Have you come to F City?" Are you on our crew now?" Where are you? I'll come find you." Mo Yesi gave the address. After Chiao Mian hung up the phone, she immediately got out of the car to look for him. It's actually not hard to find. Because wherever Mo Yesi appears, he will become the focus. Chiao Mian went to the address he said and saw people surrounding him from a distance away. Are several female employees of the crew. Chiao Mian quickened her pace, and when she walked in, she saw Mo Yesi leaning next to a silver-gray Lamborghini. The man was wearing a white shirt and black trousers. The cuffs of his shirt were rolled up, and he wore a simple and elegant watch on his exposed wrist. Clothes and trousers are the simplest styles. But it looks particularly stylish and good-looking when worn on him. The man's straight and slender legs were folded casually, and his posture was very leisurely, but the noble and powerful aura around him was impossible to ignore. A group of female employees of the crew stood a few meters away from him, secretly looking at him. Mo Yesi is good-looking, has a good figure, and has a first-rate temperament. Wherever he is the most attractive person to attract the attention of the opposite sex. When Chiao Mian walked over, she heard several female employees covering their mouths and exclaiming in low voices, "So handsome." The man's face has always been expressionless, his eyes are cold and distant, and his whole body exudes an indifferent aura of keep away from strangers. However, when he heard the familiar footsteps and raised his head to see Chiao Mian, his indifferent aura immediately calmed down. In those cold and distant eyes, the ice and snow melted instantly. The female employees were surprised by this sudden change. Seeing Chiao Mian, Mo Yesi straightened up and walked towards her. As soon as Chiao Mian walked up to him, the man stretched out his hand and pulled her into his arms. He did not shy away from the fact that there were others watching around him. Chiao Mian ran into his arms and smelled the familiar scent of the man. She blushed and reached out to push him gently. Mo Yesi, let me go. Someone is watching us. Then let them watch. Don't you feel embarrassed? Mo Yesi didn't care at all. I'm hugging my own woman, what's there to be embarrassed about? Chiao Mian. The female employees who were making love to Mo Yesi saw the scene and were immediately tortured. A few people can be regarded as knowledgeable. The real owner is here, and the young couple are making out affectionately. How can they continue to stand there and watch? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1609. Chapter 1609. I was wrong, I repent. After a few people were envious and jealous, they turned around and left. When there were no other people around, Mo Yesi became even more unscrupulous. He pinched Chiao Mian's chin and moved closer to her. Baby, do you owe me an explanation? Chiao Mian blinked, looking confused. I owe you an explanation? What explanation? The man's deep black eyes narrowed, and he said with a bit of dissatisfaction, you and your manager went to KTV. Why didn't you tell me that you were harassed that night? Do you think someone can help you solve the problem? You no longer need me. Although it was a question, Chiao Mian could hear a lot of dissatisfaction and sourness in these words. She was stunned for a few seconds and said funnily, you won't be angry because of this, right? I didn't tell you because I didn't think it was necessary. Someone was harassing me at the time, but luckily Gongzili showed up in time, so there was no need. Something bad happened. I told you, except to make you worry about me, what else can it do? Later, because the matter was resolved, I felt there was no need to tell you. Chiao Mian said while looking at his face. Are you really angry because of this? Mo Yesi narrowed his eyes. Do you still remember what you promised me before? Chiao Mian probably knew what he was going to say. She blinked, with an innocent expression on her face. I remember. I promised you that no matter what happens, I will tell you. So you still remember? Mo Yesi pursed his lips and frowned. Then did you do it? Chiao Mian, no. I'm sorry, I was wrong, and I regret it. She admitted her mistake with a good attitude. I have realized my mistake now. I will deeply examine myself and reflect on myself, and I will definitely not make the same mistake again in the future. No matter what happens in the future, whether the matter is resolved or not, I will tell you. Mo Yesi. She apologized so actively and her attitude was so correct, he didn't know what to say. If he blames her any further, it would seem that he is not generous enough. Should I still believe you? Of course. Chiao Mian gave him a flattering hug and said softly, this time it's true. Just trust me one more time, okay? I really won't hide it from you anymore. Besides, people, I won't tell you because I'm afraid you'll worry. You are on a business trip, and I don't want to distract you. Looking at her like this, Mo Yesi is still angry. He wouldn't really be angry with her in the first place. It just feels like she refuses to tell him anything she encounters. His husband makes her feel like an outsider, which makes her feel uncomfortable. How could he not know that she didn't want him to worry? He sighed softly. pinched her face and said helplessly, "Next time, I will tie you to my side and won't let you go anywhere. I won't worry about you all day long." Chiao Mian Mian. Okay, okay, let's put this matter to an end. Have you eaten yet? Do you want me to accompany you to eat? Also, have you finished your work? Why did you come here? Are you tired? Do you want to take a rest? Are you going back to Yunchinj today? Hearing her asking so many questions in succession, Mo Yesi laughed softly. Well, I've eaten. I'm done with work for the time being. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1610. Chapter 1610, open it and see if you like it. I missed you and came here. I was a little tired, but all the fatigue was gone when I saw my baby. I won't go back today, I'll stay here with you. The man patiently answered every question she asked. Hearing that he wanted to stay, the corners of Chiao Mianmian's lips raised slightly. The time the two of them were separated was actually not that long. Although Chiao Mian is filming in a different place, Mo Yesi often comes to accompany her. This time, it was probably the longest time the two of them had been separated. They were separated for almost 10 days. It was the first time they had been separated for so long, and Chiao Mian felt that it had been a long time since she had seen Mo Yesi. She also hopes he can stay today. Really not going back? Well, I won't go back. I should be able to finish work early today, Chiao Mian said with bright eyes. When I finish work, I will take you for a walk in the evening. Now that I am very familiar with F City, what is there to eat and do here? I know everything. Looking at her proud little face, Mo Yesi gently raised his lips and said fondly, "Okay. Let me treat you to dinner tonight," Chiao Mian said enthusiastically. "There is a restaurant that tastes pretty good. Can we have some food tonight?" "Well, just make arrangements. Then let's eat food. After we finish eating, I will take you for a walk. There is an alley here. At night, the shops are hung with various lanterns. The alley is also antique and unique. Do you want to go for a walk? Good. After visiting that alley, we can also go to the snack street next door. Let me tell you, there are a lot of various snacks on that street, and they all taste good and..." "Baby, stop for a moment." Mo Yesi listened to the excited description of the girl in his arms and interrupted her. "It's not urgent to discuss these things now. It won't be too late to discuss them later. Don't ask me about this business trip. Did I bring you a gift?" "A gift?" Chiao Mian blinked. "Well, a gift." Mo Yesi pinched her face, his eyes full of doting. "Other women's husbands have to ask someone to bring a gift when they go on a business trip abroad. Have you never thought of asking me to bring you a gift?" Chiao Mian. She really hasn't thought about it? She also didn't know that her husband had to ask someone to bring gifts when he went on a business trip abroad. Chiao Mian was stunned for a while, and suddenly came to think of it. She raised her head and smiled. "Husband, did you bring me a gift?" "Yes, I brought it, but some people don't seem to be expecting it very much. Do you want to give me this gift, or not?" Send. Chiao Mian immediately shook his neck and said, "Who said I'm not looking forward to it? I'm looking forward to it. Come on, take it out and let me see what you brought me." Mo Yesi just teased her and quickly took out a box from his suit pants bag. He handed it to Chiao Mian. "Open it and see if you like it." Looking at the box, you can tell that it contains jewelry. Chiao Mian took it and opened it, and saw a bracelet in the box. Is a diamond-encrusted bracelet with a simple style and suitable for daily wear. Chiao Mian just took one look and felt like she liked it very much. Mo Yesi also bought her very expensive jewelry. But Chiao Mian had put away all the jewelry. Because they were too expensive, she was always worried about accidentally throwing them away, so she simply put them away. Yessie probably knew the reason why she didn't wear those jewelry, so the bracelet she bought this time was suitable for daily wear and didn't look like an expensive item. End of this chapter.